What if I told you this could help prevent this?
The scene here is incredibly tense.
For election officials in Detroit, that's the hope.
Laws have changed. We have pre-processing now. That's helpful.
That could speed up the results.
That certainly will speed up the results.
It's election night in America continued.
In 2020, vote counting dragged on past election night. As Joe Biden overtook Donald Trump on his way to winning Michigan, chaos erupted at the convention center where they were tallying mail ballots.
They're trying to steal the election.
In Detroit, there were hours of unexplained delay in delivering.
This year, Michigan's new election laws could help avoid a repeat of the chaos. We have been granted exclusive access to the election center in Detroit, where today, right behind me, they are processing about 10,000 mail ballots. So the ballots in this room very well could decide the election.
So today, after we receive the ballots, my staff go through all of the mail.
Signed ballots and envelopes are fed into a new $1 million sorting machine that Detroit bought after 2020. It snaps a picture of each document so clerks can compare the signatures to those on file. Can't get counted without a signature.
Can't get counted without a signature.
Now, why is that signature important?
The signature authenticates the actual ballot.
When people out there say there's no verification, your response to that?
They're wrong.
CNN blurred personal information for the sake of privacy.
This part is the most human part of the process. Now this one
looks pretty different.
Pretty different. This one is a full name, and this one is 2 initials.
So what happens here?
So at this point, that return ballot is rejected for further review.
But even with these safeguards and reforms, some Michigan Republicans still don't have faith in the process, like here in neighboring Macomb County, which Trump carried twice. So you're no fan of vote by mail?
No, I hate it. The drop boxes are terrible because people just stuff anything into drop boxes. I voted by mail last time because I had a big family thing going on. So
but you voted by mail?
Once.
You just told me.
Ballot.
I thought you said
but
you don't trust it.
But I took it to the township. I don't. I took it to the township and put it inside the building at the clerk's office, right to the box.
So you saw it go in?
I saw it go in.
Stop the count!
4 years ago, this was a very hot spot.
Yes, it was. Someone posted on social media asking for every Republican in the state of Michigan to come to Detroit. It was so crowded to the point where we had to stop people from coming in.
Federal prosecutors recently suggested the Trump campaign tried to incite a riot that day.
All of a sudden, we heard the walls and the windows rattling, and then people began to chant, stop the count, stop the count. And
now, did you stop the count?
Absolutely not.
Look at your screen. At one site, workers put cardboard over the windows of a vote counting station so no one could see in.
These 3 windows were boarded up.
Yeah, that's it right there.
And they were trying to board these up. But before they could, that's when I came over here and I said, take all those cardboards down. I hated that. Man, I hate it when that happened.
Why?
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 Because this is all designed for transparency. This is democracy.
Do you regret that those papers were put up on the window?
I don't. I don't regret anything we did to keep our poll workers focused and feeling safe. And if that's what it took for that to happen, I'll do it again. You know, I'm a government employee. You know, I sign my name for a living and swear people in. That's what it used to be. But now I truly feel like a protector of democracy.
We were winning everything, and all of a sudden it was just called off. We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election. So we'll be going to the U.S. Supreme Court. We want all voting to stop.
The night of the 2020 election, Donald Trump made it clear he'd be contesting the results in court. This time around, it may not be any different. In the 4 years since his election loss, the same Trump allies who helped the former president try to discredit the 2020 results, have mobilized, preparing an aggressive court strategy aimed at contesting mail-in ballot rules, election certification procedures, and voter rolls. Already, the GOP has been involved in 130 election-related cases. Among their hardest workers, a grassroots network of Republican activists and lawyers who meet weekly to lay the groundwork for Trump's sprawling legal fight. They are captured here in audio recordings that were obtained by the New York Times.
I believe that we are making bigger strides than the left is certainly acknowledging. I know we're making more strides than our own side understands.
We need turnout that's too big to rig.
When all else fails, if an official that lost a close election knows that there were some illegitimate votes that were cast or questionable votes that were cast, they could use this information that we have potentially to challenge the election.
Just remember that what we are collectively trying to do is save our country from the radical left. That's what we're doing.
I think God put this on my heart.
All right, joining us now is Republican election lawyer Ben Ginsberg. Ben, wonderful to see you. Thank you so much for being here. You also have an op-ed out in the New York Times this morning. They had alerted this massive investigation that they reported out yesterday evening. You, in your opinion piece, are trying to basically reassure people. You write this, quote, "Don't expect to know the winner of a close presidential contest on election night. Understand that this is because of policy choices made by each state. Delays themselves are not evidence of a conspiracy. They should not breed mistrust. If either candidate jumps the gun and declares victory before the votes are counted, dismiss it as political posturing and know that each state's rules will decide the outcome." Explain more about why you think you need to write this right now and what you are expecting.
Well, there are certainly recounts in the history of the country and delayed results. But what we saw in 2020 was really sort of what turned out to be systematic falsehoods about the election. So it is important for people to have an expectation of when the results will actually be produced by the individual states and why that happens. It is not a conspiracy. And you want to guard against the sort of false narrative of claiming victory before all the ballots are counted. And Casey, the truth is that period of time between when the polls close and when the results are called by the news media is really, in 2020, was a perilous time. It was kind of the Petri dish of election conspiracies. So this time, the second time through, we should know what to expect so we're not shocked by that delay in being able to call the winner.
So, Ben, I mean, what do you expect in terms of how long this may take? I mean, let's assume the polls are right and it's absolutely neck and neck in these battleground states, which means they take possibly the longest, right? Because it'll be hard for news organizations to look at what we do know and say, okay, we can safely say Pennsylvania is going to go this way, so we can call it a little bit earlier. How long do you think Americans are going to be waiting? How long do you think this period is going to be? And if these races are all as close as they look to be, which states are the ones that we're going to be waiting for?
Well, all of this depends, of course, on the tightness of the race in the individual states and in the Electoral College overall. But historically and sort of practically the way the states compile their ballots, Pennsylvania and Wisconsin don't allow the pre-processing of their absentee ballots. So if there are a lot of mail-in absentee ballots in those states, it's going to take a while. Pennsylvania, even more so because of the way their counties sort of tabulate the votes and really the large number of votes that come into Philadelphia. In Wisconsin, there are many jurisdictions, and on top of that, 39 of them, including Milwaukee, have central counts, which takes longer than if they were to count in the individual precincts. Arizona will take a while because of a state law that allows people to actually walk their mail absentee ballots into the polling place up to 7 o'clock on election day. Historically, that is a large number of people who take that option. Plus in Maricopa County, 60% of the state, they have so many races and initiatives on the ballot that it's going to go to 2 pieces of paper for the first time, which means there will be twice as many pieces of paper to tabulate.
All right. Well, Ben, I'm going to have you on speed dial on election night. I know that. And thank you for helping all of our viewers understand a little bit more about this at this early hour, just exactly 1 week before Election Day. I really appreciate it.